Today's market update, I want to focus in on this year versus last year. As you can see on the screen here, I've got a few numbers highlighted here. Basically, it's the March sales and the March inventory. So if you look at 2022, our sales in the month of March were over 4,000 sales. This is all real estate types in Calgary. And this year we're down under 2,500. So we're down probably 40% in sales volume this year as compared to last year. And if you look at inventory, it's the same thing. There were almost 4,400 units on the market at the end of March, and the inventory at the end of March, at the end of March 2022, the end of March this year, we're down to 3,200. So we're more than 1,000 down. And that's reflective in when we go out with our clients looking for something to buy, and there's nothing for them to buy.
Yeah, like Tim wrote 4 offers on the weekend from 4 different clients. All of them went into multiple offers, and he succeeded with 1 bid. And so that normally Tim doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's been our year probably since the beginning of January.
Yeah, so it's really, really frustrating. One of the condos we did get, the agent told us that he had to cancel 20 more showings after he accepted our offer. So the market's ridiculous. We're seeing great achievements like prices, Tim.
Yeah.
We can't even believe some of the prices people are getting out there. So if you are thinking of selling, this may be the time to actually take advantage of the market and get maximum price.
Yeah, and if you look at the average price last year as compared to this year, the average price was $537. This year it's at $535, so it's basically flat. We're not seeing these 20 to 30% price decreases that you're seeing in the bigger centers like Vancouver and Toronto. Calgary's market is holding its own price-wise, and we expect that to continue. The reason we expect that to continue is we're not seeing a lot of new inventory come online. That means we're not seeing enough new houses being built, enough new condos being built, enough new townhouses being built. We're just not building enough for the influx of population that we're seeing and the demand that's going on with it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lag on new builds, so that can't catch up for about 3 years. So this market will continue, and the reason why it's a little flat is that the top end of the market is struggling. There's not a lot of those properties turning over right now. And what is turning over is the bottom end, anything under 500,000. And that is a huge part of the condo market as well. Townhouses, apartments, duplexes, we're seeing first time kind of buyer homes, like the smaller. We were looking in Riverbend today, and just last year, a small house in Riverbend would go for about 380, 390 with the garage. Yeah. Right now they're going between 450 and 470, and people that have been sitting on these properties are gonna think twice, do I sell or do I ride it out?
Yeah, so that's a brief snapshot of where the market is. We expect this to continue at least through the month of April. Whether it goes into May or June, we'll have to wait and see if anybody, if the sellers turn and they decide to put their houses on the market. But we expect this to happen right through April. So if you're looking to buy something, you may get it at a lower price than you will in June, but you're going to be competing with a lot more buyers.
Yeah, so that's our market update. I know Dan's got a question here, which is great. If anyone else has questions throughout the whole presentation, at the end of each slide, we will get to the questions. Dan just asking, what are your most recent rental vacancy rates for Calgary? We can tell you we're listing a condo in St. Alter, and we were just there before this presentation, and the tenants were there. So we're like, it's a boyfriend girlfriend situation. They're breaking up, and so they have to go find their own unit rent. And it's impossible for them to find anything. They were telling us that the rents are incredible, like $2,000 minimum for a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom condo anywhere downtown. And they will also say you can rent rooms right now, for $1,000 per room. So that's how expensive the rooms are. We've seen rooms go from $550 to $750, and now they're at $1,000.
And that's in the last 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, and this young girl, her name was she was just telling us, so this is coming from a tenant that is desperate to find somewhere to live because the property goes on the market on Tuesday. She's telling us a basement suite, it's impossible to get a basement suite for under $1,500. And whenever we run our numbers for basement suites, when we're doing our analysis for our clients, it's always, Tim, it's always been around 1,100, 1,150, and now it's all the way up to 1,500. So investors are definitely cash flowing out there. And there's no slowdown on that. It's not like there's a bunch of rental properties that are just going to come on the market. They're actually making it more difficult for people to get rental properties. So that's not going to go anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, so the actual vacancy rate is super, super low. We don't have it because we haven't looked onto the Calgary Apartment Association, which has sort of a vacancy rate for large apartments downtown. When we poll our individual investors, which is how we get to know what current rents are, what current vacancy rates are, our current landlords are charging upwards of 40% more than they did last year and the year before. So rents are sky high, vacancy rates are super low. It's a very, very positive environment for current landlords. So we'll move on to Danielle DeMarco. She's our mortgage expert. She's gonna give us an update on the mortgage market. Things are changing, even though the Bank of Canada rate stayed the same at the last meeting. Things are changing in the market because bond rates are starting to move, and we've seen some banking failures in the States. So things are going to be, up and down for the mortgage market in the next little while. Danielle will give us an update here.
Yeah, for sure. So similar to 2 weeks ago, bond yields are still down, which means rates are still low. We have a couple lenders with some pretty fabulous rate specials, but obviously we have to meet their requirements. But as far as bond yields go, yes, they are down. Bond yields affect fixed interest rates, not variable interest rates. So that's why we're seeing fixed rates as low as they are right now. We've been able to drop, existing clients' rates before possession, which is really nice. And obviously that helps with cash flow when we can have lower interest rates because it means lower payments. But Tim is correct. It is going to be a little bit of up and down. As the bond yields come down, we're going to start to see them go back up. There was some bailouts. Yes, the banking crisis in the US, but we haven't seen it far reaching affect us too much. So we are expecting interest rates to kind of sneak back up a little bit again. But again, bond yields only affect fixed rates. So we're not talking variable. Variables remained very stable so far in 2023, and we didn't see the Bank of Canada increase either recently. We are still expecting the Bank of Canada to increase by 1/4 point before the end of 2023, but nothing substantial. What I did want to touch on today was kind of with Tim and Azad's Tip Tuesday there, because you guys touched base on condos quite a bit. And so I thought I would talk about condos and how they relate to mortgage financing, because condos are a little bit different than single family homes and as well as, townhouses and duplexes in what the lenders are looking for. So there's important things to keep in mind. One thing is square footage. If the square footage is too small, it will really limit which lenders we can apply to. So when obviously with Tim and Azad, when you're talking about rental properties, we're not looking at bachelor pads anyways, but something to be mindful of is 1 bedroom, 1 bath minimum. Obviously square footage, we're looking 500 at the bare minimum, but ideally above that 700 square feet. Purchase price. This is another one that's kind of funny. Most lenders are okay with the purchase price, but there is minimum mortgage amounts. So if you're looking at, really, really low priced condos, you need to watch how much down payment you're going to be able to put down as to how much mortgage amount we can have. And as well, some lenders restrict the condos on purchase price. So, double checking on what your purchase price is and what your mortgage amount is going to be before you write an offer. Third thing, Tim touched on this briefly, condo documents. So condo documents are really, really critical because even if lenders don't ask for the condo documents up front, that doesn't mean that they're not going to ask the lawyer to verify the condo documents. So we want to make sure that you're having that condo document review so that there's no surprises after you waived conditions and you're at the lawyer's office. I had a self-managed condo, which we'll talk about in a minute here, where not all of the paperwork was available as far as financials and meeting minutes and things like that go. And according to the Condo Act, there are certain documents that you're required to have available for a purchase. And so I made sure that this client checked with his lawyer to double check and make sure that they had what they needed, and they didn't. And so luckily they did not proceed with the purchase before the condition deadline. It would have been not a pretty picture if they had waived and then found this out. So condo financials, condo budgets, reserve documents, making sure those are all in order, making sure that you have that condo doc review in as a condition. And then to touch base on self-managed condos, we do want to try and avoid those if we can. A lot of the lenders won't touch them, which means when it comes time for resale, and again, that's part of our strategy sometimes is selling these properties at a certain point in time. We want our buyers to be able to have options when they're purchasing the condos from us. So if we're purchasing a condo that has restrictions or limited funding availability, then when you go to sell that, the buyers are going to run into the same problems and it's going to limit their options. And finally, post-tension cables, something we want to try and avoid if possible. A lot of the lenders don't love them. If there are post-tension cables, we just need to make sure that engineer reports are up to date and then we're able to provide those to the lenders. So condos can be fabulous investments. The rental market's crazy right now. They're very profitable, but you just want to keep in mind the details of the property, the financials, you know, the building type, things like that when you are considering writing an offer. So feel free, if you do find a property you're interested in, to always fire off the MLS listing to your broker. We can take a peek and see if there's any red flags on a property before you write an offer. So that's it for me. I just thought I'd touch base on how condos relate to mortgage financing since Tim brought that up. So if you have any other questions, just let me know.